Hey guys, cheers for seeing another video. This time, I really wanted to make a video about BlizzCon that happened back in beginning of November, end of October. A lot of things happened in that event, a lot of announcements. I want to talk about what happened in BlizzCon itself with Chris Metzen when it comes to specifically World of Warcraft, but I've been a bit behind to do that. However, some of the fruits of BlizzCon officially announced was Season of Discovery in Warcraft Classic. So that's what we're going to be just discussing here. So at the time of recording, the Season of Discovery has already been released for the last couple of days, and I'm having an absolute blast. To go over what Season Discovery is very briefly, it is Classic, but with creative changes. It's like a new game mode within Classic itself. So it's still in the Classic world that we all know, but it plays differently. Classes have new skills for all classes that we have and specs, and there's some mishmash in between. I'm predominantly playing a warlock. Now you can be an affliction warlock and you can have access to chaos bolt. You can be a destruction warlock and have access to haunt. Just think about that for a second. That changes, and even the function of those spells differ slightly to retail as well, and some just completely different anyway. So we've got class differences. We also see some differences within the game itself, some additional quests. There was something that not there before, but that's what Season Discovery is. It was the rumoured Classic Plus. Now the rumour of Classic Plus, there's variation of that. Some of it was just literally, it was Classic, the actual Classic game, and that just expanded from where it was. Or there was some aspect that it was a alternate expansions that will lead in a different sort of branch from Burning Crusade to Wrath of the Lich King. So instead of going to TBC, Wrath, Cataclysm, all of that, we were going to see Classic and just expanded on that. Some of the zones that weren't already there, the zones that were there in the game, at least we presume there were, but never were truly implemented, missing content from the game that should have been in that part of the world of Azeroth. That was the rumour mill, and also it was almost a way for Blizzard to reset the Warcraft franchise in a way, like from the very beginning, because the way retail Warcraft is now is very different. It's a very different beast, even to what Wrath of the Lich King was. So Classic has shown that a lot of people do like the old way, the old systems, the old grind, the way things, I would say, weren't handheld for you. I wasn't there during the vanilla days, the Burning Crusade days, but I was there during the Wrath of the Lich King days, and a lot of the Wrath days still had a lot of vanilla implementation in it before it adjusted from that. So I'm going on a tangent. But this is to explain how Season of Discovery is big. It is Classic, but expanded. Now, this was announced at BlizzCon that went by. It had a relatively small section. It was just mostly announcements that it was definitely coming, what was going to come in there. I'm not going to go over the whole experience. I'm still playing through it. I'm not going to go on this video like exactly what's in Season of Discovery, but it's done in phases. We have level caps at these phases and what we have access to, what content we can do. This is an interesting approach, so we'll see how to go from there. But what I do want to just sort of discuss with the premise of this video. Season of Discovery, to me, is Blizzard taking a highly experimental approach to what they want to add to Warcraft as a whole. Is this something they can take as an inspiration? Will we actually see Warcraft Classic Plus the expansion to the classic series, but takes a alternative branching timeline out of the word, just a different experience. We still have all of those old mechanics, all of those old systems, but you just continue to play that, you continue to expand on it, and they don't change the wheel. They don't try to change the whole systems like we've had in retail, and I hate to say it, but a lot of the times they were a miss. We just want the game we have, the game they had, and just add more to it. Add different flavors. Don't take things away. Add to the game. That's what Seasons of Discovery feel like to me. This is what I can see this is as a premise, where I generally think Season of Discovery is not just going to be time limited. They said it's not going to last forever. I think that's true by name. I think the name Season of Discovery is limited, but I believe they're going to completely embrace this game mode and call it something more true to the name and not call it a season. Definitely something, and they might just call it Classic Plus in the end. It's not really an expansion, but it's more like a pseudo expansion that you have the game and they've just added to it a game we're all familiar to. So this is more of a true nature of an expansion in the old, very old days of gaming, where an expansion just added to the base game. It didn't change stuff. So that's something that's really interesting to see in this present of time, because modern games don't really do that anymore. Like I said, I foresee this being more of a permanent addition to the Warcraft arsenal, and we're just seeing them doing, like I said, this is a testing ground. I can foresee them fleshing this out more, so we're going to see that it's going to add to it, get more feedback. They're doing it in snippets. They feel like they haven't fully invested in. They seem like they've got some investment. Let's see how it goes. And the premise is, if this works, if people really like this, if this is a good addition to the rest of the Warcraft franchise universe that they have, then yeah, they're gonna just keep at it, make sure they've got developers for it, keep it maintained, all of that content to it. Because I really am liking this. I'm liking the familiarity, but they've added something different, because being able to always joke about warlock tanks, shaman tanks, rogue tanks, but then to actually have them in the game, I mean, we have to see how effective they are, but to sort of get that and to sort of play with the joke that's always been made. Here we are. Let's see what Blizzard can do. Let's see how the players can actually fulfill that mantle that some people have always wanted to be those roles within that particular class. People didn't just want to be a tank. They wanted to be that specific class. They wanted to be that specific flavor, that lore, that aesthetics. But they wanted to play that role. They wanted to be the warlock tank. They wanted to fire shadow bolts, dots, but still tank. We're seeing that interesting flavor. Now, the way this can benefit the retail experience, and we'll talk about what's happening with the expansions of retail in another video, because I want to cover BlizzCon separately. But I also think this is an amazing testing ground that isn't a beta, it's a proper game that they can also take inspiration from to add into the retail experience. And they say, like, this can work. These type of talents, these type of roles could actually work, because they've been bold with some of the classes, some of the additional new classes they've added. Let's take Demon Hunter and let's take Evoker. Evoker is a lot more bold than anything before. It released with one race and 2 specs that were exclusive together. Interesting to see. So we're seeing Blizzard taking bold moves within the game itself when it comes to their class designs, what they do with those classes. I'm not saying we absolutely will get the rogue tanks, the shaman tanks, the mage healer, and of course the warlock tank. Because we're already seeing some bold moves being made into the new expansion when it comes to the class design. But I think they definitely need some real-time, real engagement to see how all of this goes, how bold some of this experimentation is. And this whole thing is, to my knowledge, is not something any real MMO's done. They're not just re-release the old game that they've had before their vanilla entry, then just take that and then completely, I say completely, they reimagined it and we're playing that and it's great. Yeah, I thought, just, if you made it this far, guys, thank you. This wasn't a breakdown of Season Discovery. This was to talk about what we can see in the future beyond the phases that they're going to release, how this will impact the whole Warcraft series, what influence will it have, and also, does this rekindle our love for the game? Because there's one thing of just playing the same old game over and over again. We also need to see something added and new to this franchise, to that game, and what it could have been had not taken the steps it took that became where it took an expansion like Dragonflight to fix. And a lot of those fixes were essentially, let's go back to the old drawing board again, which, in all honesty, is what a lot of Dragonflight is.